Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the NASCAR Heat 5 Custom Championship season without the playoffs, where today we're heading over to the Monster Mile over at Dover, a track that I've struggled at in previous games, but we're going to see how I can do today. As long as I can avoid getting loose on the exit of the corners and DNFing, we should be pretty good. Okay, so coming to the line in qualifying, we're going to qualify 21st. Once again, you know, we just kind of always qualify right on the same spot, so it's not really worth showing the rest of qualifying. It is just one lap also. But wow, we actually got out-qualified by Quinn Houff. That's pretty depressing. But looking through the rest of the qualifying standings, we can see that best friend Brad, first place, followed by Denny Hamlin, Truex, Kyle Busch all up there yet again. We really do need to have some pretty good runs, or else they are going to start eventually getting away from us. We really didn't need to, you know, get kind of heartbroken at Talladega, so let's see if we can improve here. Okay, so coming to the green flag, this is basically the second lap at speed that I'll have ever done at Dover here in this game. Just because, again, I did no practice and I just went straight into qualifying. I have the default setup on at like the middle notch between tight and loose. I really didn't want to make it too loose because the big characteristic about this track that's always kind of caught me off guard, and I'm pretty sure it's just how the track runs in real life, is because of the banking. The way the corners work is they kind of fling you back out towards the wall on the exit, which could free your car up a lot. And in doing that, you could very easily just lose control of your car. And I'm yet to DNF so far in the series, or in the game at all. But I know how easily it could happen. So I'm trying to avoid, you know, doing that, making one small little mistake, and then suddenly the whole race is over. But we have a 52-lap race going on here. 38 laps of fuel, so we had like 39 or 40 at the start, so we do have to pit at least once. We'll see how the tires handle and whether or not we'll have to do 2 pit stops if there's like 2 cautions at some point. We've been pretty lucky, I say, you know, right after Talladega in terms of cautions so far in this season, where we don't really have a whole bunch of them. But I mean, we did have Talladega where of course they came out like the worst time it could have potentially for me, so hopefully you know, something falls in our favor here, because we do need to make up some ground, and Denny Hamlin's already up to the lead, which is not exactly what we need to see. Okay, so I shoved Almirola just slightly going into that corner, and just like that, already down to like 96% on the arrow. It seems really sensitive, especially considering you can just barely nudge some of the cars in the game, and it seems like you just take so much damage. We probably don't want to be on the outside. We are losing spots pretty, you know, steadily here. Not exactly what we're looking for, as Tyler Reddick goes all the way to the outer rim of the track. That seems weird. I have noticed that, yeah, some of these cars seem to really be wall riding here, which, I mean, there are multiple grooves at Dover, don't get me wrong, but it seems kind of weird that they're all the way up, like basically an inch or 2 off the wall, especially, you know, in the first few laps where, I don't know, I certainly can't do that. Even running in the middle lane, I seem to be losing quite a bit of time, so we're gonna have to find something out here. And if we get to, say, like halfway through the season and I'm still struggling and it's pretty apparent that I'm not gonna beat other cars on pure pace, I might start using some kind of custom setup, but I don't really want to resort to that, just because the second you put any kind of good custom setup on is the time that, you know, the AI just can't keep up with you anymore. You're just going to destroy them by like half a second a lap. So that's the main reason why I've been trying to avoid doing that, as we have a battle going on right here, but I don't want to make it 3 wide once again, because these corners are very, you know, sketchy on exit, so I don't want to risk wrecking, especially this early, although it doesn't really matter because the way DNFs work is you're out, obviously, so you're not gonna finish any better if you do it, you know, 20 laps from now as opposed to, you know, this very lap. Okay, I tried running high that time. It works. You definitely carry a lot of speed off the corner. The problem is I'm too afraid to do that because, yet again, I mean, you can see right now the car's already kind of fishtailing doing that. I would rather be on the inside line, but Clint Boyer is just remaining alongside me as he actually nudges me a bit there. That was not very much appreciated. I think we're just gonna have to let him by here. Okay, we're in 19th. We're not exactly, you know, making up a lot of ground here. Alex Bowman actually is now in the lead. He was running really well in the points, and in the last couple races, he's just been struggling a lot. Myself and Boyer, we're just gonna end up wrecking each other at some point. I'm pretty sure we're just constantly fighting here. All right, back to the inside. Can I at least get around Almirola this time without, you know, caving my nose in on his bumper? Okay, maybe not. Yeah, we're just kind of pushing him along. I probably should have tried to dive to the inside there, but I don't want to get too aggressive too early, as our car, it starts to snap out right there. You can kind of see the right rear kick off to the side there. That's what I'm trying to avoid. I'm also not using the brakes. I'm just lifting off the gas. We might need to use the brakes to actually get in the corner as quickly as we would like, as, you know, smacking the wall like that's not going to help me. But, you know, maybe we'll cave in the proper quarter panel, get some kind of aerodynamic advantage. Okay, we see Ty Dillon go to the inside there as my car, once again, started to snap out. Yeah, this is not going to go very well. We're at 68% on the right front, and this is on a pretty loose setup. Like, I'm not very comfortable with the way this car is driving, and the right front is still screaming. So effectively, in terms of tire wear, you would have wanted it to be even looser, but I just don't think that would have been sustainable at all, because I'm still afraid that this car is not going to make it. It's going to spin at some point, and at that point, you know, I'm just going to hope we don't get hit too hard to the point that we DNF. I don't exactly... So all the DNFs I've seen so far have basically been like nosing into the wall. So, you know, if we spin out and like if we go door side into the wall, I don't know if it's going to DNF us as well, but I have heard that it is very strict and that even like pretty light wrecks can just end your day, which, I mean, you know, realistic, like I mentioned before, but it's kind of a, you know, stark contrast to how it was when the game first came out. Also, I'm not sure there's really a slider to affect it. Apparently you can't even turn them off, which seems kind of weird because that doesn't seem very friendly. I don't know exactly what the setting is for it, but okay, our car. We got in the air of Elliott there, so we carried a lot of extra speed. And as a result, the car kind of just wanted to, you know, tuck it to the inside. Alex Bowman has now caught up with the rear of the field, so that'll slow up the leaders a little bit. And as the run progresses, we are actually making up ground, so maybe I just got to be a bit more conservative and not try and carry as much speed, because on the longer run, just because, you know, the way the settings work that I have it set to with more grip, we will eventually have more speed than most of these cars. Probably not as much as the leaders, unless they're in traffic. But if I push it too hard trying to go as fast as I can, you know, finishing last because of a DNF, definitely worse than finishing like 15th or so. Okay, so we're just kind of grinding out a few laps here. We've caught up to the back of Ty Dillon as my car continues to want to get loose. It really seems to do that when I'm on the back of a car, which, hey, you know, if anything kind of emulates, you know, how your car would handle in real life to a certain degree. Michael McDowell actually in 14th place. You know what? You know, it's kind of weird that I'm impressed by that considering he's won 2 races so far this season. But he's also, you know, 30th in points. Wow, he's very slow. That was dangerous. I had to go so slow just to make it below them there. But, I mean, I'll gladly take the 2 free positions, I believe that was. As I have no idea what was happening. Actually, I think it was just 1. Some of these cars are a lap down, yeah. Okay. Well, we're just going to keep following Ty Dillon, I guess, because he's, you know, having a pretty good run. I feel like we could probably finish in the top 10, assuming I can keep my car in one piece. We're going to go ahead and dive it in here on Timmy Hill so we can go ahead and get past Ty Dillon. But if he gets to our outside here, that's not going to be great. Okay, keep it in a straight line. Chad Fincham, who I'm pretty sure hasn't actually started a single race so far this season in the Cup Series. I think he's attempted 1 or 2. I think that's why he's here. But it seems kind of weird that he's in the game and, like, you know, fictional characters like Bobby Carter are. But, you know, drivers like Brennan Poole, who I'm pretty sure has run, like, every single race so far. Like, sure, he's a backmarker and everything, but he's an actual driver. I don't know why he's not in the game. Just kind of a weird thing to throw out there. We're already down to 45% on the right front. So we're definitely going to need at least right side tires. Honestly, I think the call is just right side tires because, again, the AI really seem to be pretty aggressive in the pit strategy they'll take. They'll take the bare minimum required, whereas I know in previous games they would sometimes take almost randomly appearing strategies. Oh, God. Okay. Kind of got a bit worried there when we started drifting up the track and Matt Kenseth was going to be coming down from the high side. Okay, Matt, that was not very welcome. He was about to pivot me into the wall, and just like that, he's going to go flying past us probably. I should probably just let him go. I think he is faster than us, but I mean, he was struggling for the longest time. Actually, I don't know. I feel like we're pretty even on pace right now, but he was not going to give us an inch there, which could have ended pretty terribly. He could have just smacked us right into the wall. There's also a lot of cars ahead of us now. Keselowski, who actually started on the pole, now not even inside of the top 10, so he did not have a great start. I don't know if he's just been struggling getting around some of this lap traffic. As okay, Ricky Stenhouse going to come a bit low there. I mean, obviously I dove in there, but that was kind of, you know, not well timed on his part. We're going to go say hello to our best friend Brad, hopefully passing him along the way as Hall of Famer Quinn Houff down to 31st. Oh, God. My car just, I really don't want to touch that apron. When you touch the apron, the car, instead of actually snapping to the left, it does happen sometimes, at least from what I've seen, but it actually just kind of does the opposite, where your car, it almost feels like you blow a tire out, and you just kind of want to head straight up the track. which of course will obviously lead in a DNF, so I don't want to do that. But we're about half a lap, a bit more than half a lap now behind the leader. So at this current pace, we would basically be getting lapped by the very end. Of course, pit road entry here, you know, one of the hardest pit roads to enter in all of NASCAR. And I'm already not good at that, so that was a really terrible way to take that corner. But hopefully I don't nose it in the wall on the way there. Wouldn't that be ironic? I'm worried about DNFing because I get loose on the track, and instead I'll probably just run into the barrels. Pull a Matt Kenseth in like 2004, 2005, whatever year that was. Okay, we're trying to clear Keselowski. I don't ever want to go all the way right in front of them on the exit of the corners because I'm afraid that they're going to have a sudden burst of speed, and then I'm just going to get smacked into the wall. But our teammate here, hey, Bubba, you mind holding up Austin Dillon? Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Also now Kyle Busch. Well, if we can get past you, you know, that would help us out in the points, but we still need to find Denny, and I have a feeling Denny is probably still in the top 5, if not like even second place at this point. We really need Denny to be the one that struggles. We've kind of... Oh, hey. Caution. You know what? I'll take it. That's going to help us out. Assuming I can make it through the rest of the race, which... Okay, we definitely should be able to. 1 can of fuel. At this point, I'm going to take 4 tires just because... it's probably not the best idea, but I'm going to take it. I'm not going to repair because I don't feel like Aero does too much at this track unless it gets really bad. And we're just going to see where this puts us. Okay, so we lost 9 spots. Yeah, we ended up falling all the way from 10th to 19th. I think that's okay. I feel like a lot of these cars probably took 2 tires, so by the end of the race, my hope is that we'll have a lot more pace. Actually, look at that. Okay, if it wasn't for the fact that I got into Eric Jones, also, I'm pretty sure this is an illegal maneuver to pass on the inside before the start-finish line, but you know what? I'm going to ignore that because this game doesn't care. I'm hoping that we're going to have the pace at the end of the run. Okay, and we didn't lose too much ground. I mean, we lost 9 spots. That's not great by any means, but we already gained, you know, 2 of them back right there off the start. We could have gained even more, but unfortunately didn't have a whole lot of room to go to the inside of Eric Jones there. As Eric Almirola... Okay, that's not Eric Almirola. I was confused. I was like, wait, that's Matt Benedetto. Apparently he's a lap down, but he's put himself in between myself and Eric and the other Eric. It's always annoying when there's Eric Almirola and Eric Jones. They're spelled completely different ways, pronounced the exact same way. It's really awkward from a like commentating standpoint. Okay, we did not get the exit off that corner that we need. I feel like it's because I'm hesitating a little bit on the exits of the corners, just because, like I've said in my previous experience in other games, you just want to be really careful because the car can very easily just snap left on you, or snap right, I should say. Either way, honestly, I mean, it snaps right when you try to correct. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. As Alex Bowman's still in the lead, I can't tell. Is that Logano behind him? It's really hard to tell. Also, I think McDowell might be back ahead of us once again. And so we're going to dive to the inside of Chase. Okay, I just barely tapped the apron there, and I had to let off a lot. Look at that. Benedetto, he just takes... I just butchered his name in the process, but he just took huge advantage of that. If I didn't let out there, I'm pretty sure I would have DNF'd because I would have just smacked into the wall, and I don't trust the game. I bet it's not actually that bad, but just seeing some other people's videos and how easily they've DNF'd, I'm just always so afraid of it now, which I probably shouldn't be. You know, if we DNF, we DNF. I don't want to give up a bunch of spots trying to avoid that, but I don't think it would be great. Plus, hey, you know, if I DNF like in the first couple laps, all of a sudden that video is only, you know, 5 minutes long. And, I mean, at that point, it kind of just spoils what's going to happen for all you guys. Like, hey, it's 5 minutes long. I wonder what happened. Either the race was 5 minutes long, or, you know, he smacked it in the wall and DNF'd. Okay, we've moved our way back around to Benedetto, even though it's not for position, so that just kind of doesn't help us that we got to battle with him. Ty Dillon, Matt Kenseth ahead of us. There's a big group right here, which I'm hoping Michael McDowell can kind of hold up, but he's definitely up here on pace, actually, in this race. Although, it still doesn't seem like he's actually that fast. Okay, we are back on the rear bumper of Brad Keselowski. Our car got really tight in the middle of that corner, so I had to let off a little bit. Oh gosh, I wanted to go to the inside, but he kind of, you know, checked up, so I couldn't do that. That was a sketchy entry. You know what, Ty Dillon? I'm impressed you saved that. I don't like the way this corner's going. Thank you for saving my life, Matt Kenseth. Get me out of here. I don't like being in this big group of cars. Okay, my car's getting really tight now, actually. Which doesn't make a whole lot of sense because it should be handling basically the same that it did at the start of the race. But you know what? Hey, we're back into 11th place. Almost back to where we were before the pit stop started. I'm actually curious whether or not the left side tire wear that I'm pretty sure these guys are going to have over me is actually going to come into play at any point. There's only 12 laps left, but at this point, their left side tire should probably be, you know, below 50% or so. So maybe that'll help me out. I don't think we have the pace to win without another caution at the very least. But potentially, if they start falling off, we could still get a top 5. And really what I'm hoping for is that we can find Denny Hamlin, because I'm pretty sure he's still ahead of us. In fact, I think I see him up there battling for second right now. We basically just want to beat him. That's our big goal, obviously, in the championship overall points battle. To the inside of Austin Dillon, who for absolutely no reason decided to go all the way to the top line there. My car, once again, once that right front starts to wear out, which is kind of weird, you would think it would make it a bit tighter. It still makes it where the exit of the corner, the car really just wants to snap, like right there. It's just because of the way the banking transition works on this track. It's a very weird track in that it's pretty intense the way that the banking works. Also, is it just me or are we redlining on the straightaways? How's the engine doing, actually? If I pay attention here... Okay, we're barely redlining. It's still kind of concerning, though. I don't know if that's going to cause any damage. There's only, like, you know, 8 laps left, so I don't think it's actually a big issue. I'm wondering if that's as a result of the aero damage that we have from earlier in the race. But I mean, either way, we're still, you know, making up ground. We're trying to pass Trix here. For a 9th, I had to let off a lot there. I knew the car was going to snap loose, and by letting off the gas, the car actually wanted to snap even more. So it's really hard to correct. You do have to enter the corner. Not as, you know, sharp as I am, because then you kind of have to arc it back in, which just makes the problem even worse. All right, Bowman is caught up in lap traffic once again, though, so who knows? Maybe there's still a chance that we can do something here, but with only, you know, 6 laps to go, honestly, a top 10 I would not be upset about, but I would like to put up some kind of fight with people like Denny Hamlin. Also, is that Kyle Busch still up there? I didn't realize. I thought I might have passed him back already, but he could still be ahead of us as well. So we would like to get past both of them, or at least one, obviously. Chris Buescher having a cold day. Yeah, Chris Buescher in 40th place. That sounds about as cold as, you know, Joey Gase running in 2nd or 3rd at Talladega, like the last race. I really don't understand the logic behind some of those icons when they don't seem to mean much half the time. Once again, the car kind of just drifting around. We're inspired by a Tokyo drift now. That is what this race has turned into. Joey Gase, 39th place. See, you're not cold when you're in 39th, as we just absolutely demolished that wall. But he was apparently cold when he's in 2nd place, you know? That's, you know, reverse logic. 94%. I'm surprised it only took 2% more off of the arrow. But at this point, I probably should just be, you know, worrying about surviving. Because 9th place, not a bad day, even though we would have liked to have done better compared to our rivals. But considering I'm so afraid of this track and just DNFing, I'm perfectly content with just moving on with this and saying, hey, you know what? At the end of the day, at least we didn't lose that much ground to the top 2 in points. Okay, so Kurt Busch is actually being held up by Timmy Hill, Bobby Carter, and Quinn Houff. At least a little bit. Ooh, Timmy Hill, don't pinch me down, please. We might be able to get another position here. Also, Jimmy Johnson, 7th place. Good run there. You know, kind of sad that that's now a good run for a 7-time champion, but it is what it is. As Quinn Houff kind of considered coming down and blocking me. Would not have been advised. All right, unfortunately, it doesn't look like it held up Kurt Busch enough. White flag. We're actually almost out of fuel. Okay, well, I mean, that does make sense. Joey Logano has actually stolen the lead from Alex Bowman after I'm pretty sure he led almost the entire race. So it looks like we're going to probably come home in 9th place. And Joey Logano is going to come and win the race. Okay, I had to make sure that nobody passed him at the last second. As Johnson and Busch and some other car gone side by side of the line. I'll take 9th place. I think a few more laps, we probably could have gotten, you know, 8th or 7th. Also, speed rating 99, obviously not the fastest. But I'll go ahead and I'll take it. But then moving on to the overall race results, we can see that Joey Logano does take away the win here in the final few laps. Alex Bowman in 2nd, Denny Hamlin in 3rd, Kyle Busch in 4th, Ryan Blaney in 5th. Does not help me in the slightest. Without the caution, we probably could have gained some points on Kyle Busch, but unfortunately they finished 3rd and 4th. So at the very least, I don't think we lost a whole lot of ground. But Ryan Newman, yet again, also outperforming us. So still some improvements are yet to be had. And then moving on to the points after Dover, we can see that now there's only 1 point between Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin for the lead in the standings. Ryan Newman jumps back up into 3rd as I'm, 12 points behind Newman now. We are kind of falling back. We are, what is that, like 41 points, quick maths, behind Kyle Busch. That's still not too big. I mean, that is one race, one DNF out of him, and suddenly, we're ahead of him if we were to win, which, big if. But it's still, anybody's race, really. The top, I would say top 8, still highly competitive in terms of points. And Martin Truex Jr., who's been having a lot of good races recently, suddenly right on our tail. So, you know, we kind of have to kick it into, you know, 5th gear if these were to have a 5th gear. Obviously they don't, but we'll have to see. However, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you've made it this far, please consider leaving a like. It would really help me out a lot. And then in the next one, we're going to be heading over to Kansas, which is another 1.5 miles where I feel like I generally perform the most consistently. As to whether or not that's going to mean, you know, a really good finish, we'll have to wait and see. But I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I will see you all in the next one.